Look, y'all, the Baltimore Ravens have made the tough decision to cut their future Hall of Famer, best kicker in the league, best kicker in NFL history, Justin Tucker, amid all the allegations and also some poor play as well from him last season, which a lot of us, I feel like, felt as if maybe we didn't know where his head was. But look, the Baltimore Ravens have released Justin Tucker as of Monday, May the 5th. So but it was a pre-June cut, not a post-June cut this time. And Eric DeCosta made a statement. Let's jump right into it and let's have this conversation. So it says, sometimes football decisions are incredibly difficult, and this is one of those instances. Considering our current roster, we have made the tough decision to release Justin Tucker. Of course, they drafted Tyler Loop in the draft as well. So the writing was kind of already on the wall. But continuing the statement, Justin created many significant and unforgettable moments in Ravens history. His reliability, focus, drive, resilience, and extraordinary talent made him one of the league's best kickers for over a decade. And let's just be honest, in history statistically. We are grateful for Justin's many contributions while playing for the Ravens. We sincerely wish him and his family the very best in the next chapter, coming from GM Eric DeCosta. Now, how am I feeling? Honestly, y'all, like I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised by this move because of the allegations. That's drama that realistically the Ravens don't even really want to put up with. But of course, I've heard all the whisperings about Mike Green as well and his potential allegations. So that's the thing. The tough part about it is allegations are allegations, and especially in those type of cases. And I talked about it when we talked about when this news first came out. These are the hardest allegations to prove. And as soon as the Ravens drafted Tyler Loop, I think we all knew the writing was on the wall for Justin Tucker. And it's a lot of Ravens fans feel as if a football decision, huh? Like a football decision, like and I think they're kind of questioning the Ravens in that aspect. But I think the statement could possibly be true at the same time. Like the Ravens kind of ended up with a scapegoat here because of how he played last year, right? Because of how Justin Tucker played last year and his struggles and his inability to make kicks during certain games, especially in the regular season, it being a football decision, right? That became more clear to the Ravens, especially when the allegations came up, right? The allegations put the nail in the coffin in this regard, but his inability to kick last year also hurt him. He was kind of on the decline. It felt like he was kind of in his own head a little bit. And with all the allegations and new allegations popping up here and there, from a business perspective, from a football perspective, this is the right move. Now, it's a little bit bittersweet. And I'll put to you like this: it's a little bit bittersweet for the simple fact of Justin Tucker. You talking about a guy who came in after the whole Billy Cundiff debacle, was a big helping us win the Super Bowl. He's been a big help down the stretch in terms of from a football perspective. He's been the guy to bail the Ravens out in a lot of ways. He has, if I'm not mistaken, I think if it's not the longest kick, it's like top 2 longest kicks in NFL history. It's one of those situations where it's bittersweet because you got the allegations on one hand, which suck and tear down his character, especially if true. Regardless, they're going to tear down his character, let's be honest. But especially if true, tear down his character that much more. To be honest with y'all, I don't know how y'all feel about this, and I don't know if many people have had this conversation or brought this up yet, but it may even affect his Hall of Fame bid, right? He's the most accurate kicker of all time, but depending on where the allegations go, the NFL may not want that stain on their shield, right? So that's another part of it too, where it's like, just these allegations alone, and if proven true, could be another situation where it's like, the NFL may have to make a tough decision, and maybe even a tougher decision than the Ravens had to make today. But it's bittersweet because of the allegations, but at the same time, because of what he brought to the team. And of course we're talking way before allegations came out, way before any of us knew this. But in terms of what he brought to the team, and Eric DeCosta did say, reliability, focus, drive, resilience, and talent, right? Like all of those describe Justin Tucker. So it's one of those situations where I think the Ravens had to make this move. They had to move forward. But it's also bittersweet at the same time. It'd be interesting to see what Tyler Loop does. I hope his first name is Tyler, because I've definitely been saying it with all the confidence in the world right now. But it'll be interesting to see what Tyler Loop does. Yeah, that's his name, Tyler Loop. I don't know. For some reason I just know this man's name. But Tyler, it'll be interesting to see what Tyler Loop does. Big shoes to fill football wise. So that's one of the things, and it'll be interesting to see too, with the allegations and everything made, what comes out of it, if anything. What comes out of it, if anything, because sometimes allegations like that just kind of end up being settled because you don't want your name dragged through the mud. And at the same time, it's hard to prove. So that, I think that's the tough part of it. But nonetheless, Justin Tucker is done. It'll be interesting as a Raven. It'll be interesting to see if anybody else picks him up, because I don't think Justin Tucker football wise is necessarily done. I think he may be, he possibly could be declining, depending. I think a lot of it last year was honestly mental, to be honest. So it might not even be physically that he's declining. I think he had a lot on his mind, especially if these allegations are true. And with the allegations coming up, and maybe there was a whistleblower there trying to say like, hey, we're gonna release these, and that guy in his head, I don't know. But I think at the same time, the future of him could really depend on if a team wants to take a chance on Tucker. And I wouldn't be surprised if honestly somebody did. I mean, like we said before, greatest kicker of all time, has one of the longest kicks of all time, very consistent, very clutch. Even when it comes down to some of the misses he had last year, he was still clutch. He may not have been as necessarily as consistent, but he was still clutch. So it's going to be interesting to see what team possibly could bite on Justin Tucker. I mean, I know there's probably a couple of teams you think of that probably won't even touch him. And obviously the teams with kickers won't touch him too, but a team struggling who needs a kicker, a team struggling who feel like maybe kicking could be the last little bit that they need. I mean, they'll take him on without allegations. They'll take him on with the allegations simply for the fact that we talked about before. Like it's generally hard to prove. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see what Justin Tucker's future looks like within the NFL, if there is one. But he has been released from the Ravens. So like we said, I think as fans, it's kind of bittersweet. I know a lot of people have been kind of saying, see you later. A lot of people, it's sad because of the player that you knew, right? So it's one of those bittersweet situations. But I'm gonna get up out of here. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Justin Tucker's been released. Let me know what you guys think below. This has been the B More Show.